Bad news for Miss Erika Jayne. Apparently, she could lose big now that I'm not even going to say estranged husband, I'm just going to say her husband, Thomas Girardi, has been found competent to stand trial. This is not looking good for her. Keep in mind, they are still legally married. So, this is according to The Sun. It's an exclusive. It says trial and tribulations. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Erika Jayne could lose almost $1 million after judge rules Tom Girardi is competent to stand trial. Erika filed for divorce back in 2020, but it has stalled amid Girardi's bankruptcy and criminal case. The disgraced former lawyer, 84, was found competent to stand trial in the criminal case earlier this month. He pleaded not guilty last year to wire fraud on charges that he embezzled $15 million from clients. Side note, that number allegedly is way, way higher. But a lot of times in these cases, particularly white-collar crimes, they won't get you on every little thing. They will get you on what they know that they can 100% nail you with. Because when the federal government comes for you, when you're at this type of level, they don't play. So they keep their cases tight. So yes, they may know you did more, you did this, but they are going to nail you on what they know they can like crucify you with. So they're saying 15 million, but we all know it is way more than that over the decades and decades and decades. And then also it gets to a point where if they go for every single thing, that can sort of muddy it if it gets overwhelming and too much. And then it also becomes moot. You know, you can't do, it's like when somebody gets like 3 life sentences. It feels good for the victims or the victim's family to be like, I got justice for my particular thing, but it's a moot point because a person only has one life cycle. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's saying 15 million, but we know it's way more. Okay. Including a burn victim and a couple whose child was injured in a car crash. Girardi, who filed for bankruptcy in 2021, has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, but was accused by prosecutors of exaggerating his symptoms to try and avoid prosecution. Erika, 52, has always denied any knowledge of her estranged husband's possible crimes, but the criminal case could affect her bank account, according to an expert. She filed for divorce back in November of 2020, but there has barely been any movement in the case. Attorney Ronald Richards, who was previously Girardi Keese's special counsel against Erika, believes she could lose close to $1 million if he is convicted, along with any exempt property payouts from the bankruptcy estate. Her divorce has been sitting on ice since 2021, he said. They're doing nothing in that case. She is set to get half of whatever remains after the bankruptcy case. Some things are exempt and there are community assets. But if he's convicted, a restitution order could attack whatever is left and she could lose out, as well as be on the hook for lifetime alimony payments. I don't know what they mean by alimony payments. I thought alimony was about marriage and divorce. If he's convicted, why would she have to pay him alimony? I don't know. Any lawyers or any people who understand that, put it down in the chat box. But I do understand the other part. So essentially, because they're still legally married, if he's convicted, that means there will be restitution in the outcome, right? He's going to have to either do jail time since it's criminal, and he's going to have to pay people back, restitution. So they're basically saying anything that comes out of that bankruptcy would not go to Erika Jayne, which is what she's holding out for, which is also why she's been so defiant. I mean, it's literally, it's greed. It's greed and it's toxic selfishness. Because to be honest with you, at this point, Erika Jayne doesn't need Tom Girardi's blood money. She's on the show. She has residencies. She has whatever the heck else she's doing, extensions. She doesn't need this blood money. The sickening part is how much she's still trying to hold on to the victim's money. And for what, Erika? For what? Your life is already more lavish and luxurious and wealthy than 98% of the rest of the world. So what exactly are you still holding on to at this point? At this point, it's just evil. It's just evil. You have enough. Not that I don't personally think that people should, when you're actually doing something moral, I don't think you should put a cap on your abundance. I'm not a person like, oh, you have enough, just for a normal life, just stop. No, I'm not like that. If you're getting your money morally, if you are getting your abundance morally without hurting anybody, sky's the limit. Go beyond the sky. Do you knock yourself out? I'm not that type of person. When I say you have enough is you have enough, Erika. You don't need to continue to victimize the victims and try to get these people's money. That's what I mean by you have enough. You're driving, fancy cars. You have designer clothes, designer jewelry. You have your own spinoff with Bravo. You're still on this show making however much money you're making every single episode. You have enough. You live in a multi-million-dollar mansion in West Hollywood, Beverly Hills adjacent. You have enough. The house she's filming in is a multi-million-dollar house. She wants to act like, oh my God, we downsized from Pasadena. You live in a multi-million-dollar house. You're fine. You're fine, Erika. You still have artwork and everything else. That is what is sickening. She literally just wants the victim's money out of ego and to win. That's the sickest part. I hope she goes to jail. I really do. Richards believes there could be plenty left after the bankruptcy case and exempt property payouts. However, the law requires restitution fines in every criminal case in which an offender is convicted of a crime. Court records seen by the U.S. Sun show there have been no new filings in the divorce case since 2021. I'm going to tell you why. The reason why there has been no new filings on the divorce case since 2021 is this. The only reason why she filed for divorce in the first place was it was a part of their contingency plan. If things hit the fan, we are going to pretend like we're getting divorced to shield you from any guilt or liability or people coming after you. You can pretend to be the, destitute, forlorn, scorned wife. You had no idea. You're just as shocked as everybody. Blah, 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 blah. They did that in an attempt to give her cover. Obviously, nobody bought that. The reason why there's been no movement between 2021 and 2024 is because they were waiting. Well, I think they thought that their whole scheme of Tom Girardi having dementia and Alzheimer's, they'll just let him go to a memory home and live out his days, and they wouldn't actually come after him, and she would still be legally married to him. So then she would still have the right to his money and assets if the government didn't proceed with charges. So that's why over the last 3 years, there's been no movement, because they've been basically playing chicken with the federal government. Because if the feds did not indict him, then she would still have access to all of his stuff as the spouse. So once he did unfortunately pass away, because even though he's a criminal, I don't wish death on anybody. I hope he lives a long life just in jail as a criminal. So whenever that would happen, she would still have claim to all of that stuff. But this is why I say playing chicken. The fact that they are still legally married, and now he has not only been indicted, but he's also been now saying he's competent to stand trial. If he is convicted, his debts become her debts. And that's what they're talking about, restitution. So that restitution is going to come out of any money that he has. Anything he has left over, they're going to come in, they're going to scoop it up to pay back the victims, to make them whole. And probably to pay the federal government too, all the fines and the fees and everything, right? So that's why they haven't gotten legally divorced, is because they were going to wait it out and see what the federal government did. Not because they're actually getting divorced or they're estranged. Like, stop playing in our faces. Because again, Erika, she told us she talks to Tom every day. She said that he was smart as a whip. She bought a big old handle of vodka to go cry their sorrows together when he was indicted. I don't know what memory facility allows you to bring in vodka, but she was allowed to bring in vodka when he got indicted. So miss me with that. Anyway, the bankruptcy case is still going on as it was reported former clients, vendors, and lenders had nearly $480 million in claims against Girardi's estate. That makes more sense. That is almost $500 million. That's why I said, yeah, they're going against him for 15 million, but we know it's a lot more. He was running a $500 million Ponzi scheme because he was running it decade upon decade upon decade. He's 84, and literally only up until about 4 years ago, 2021, everything hit the fan, he was still running it. So at 80 years old, he was still running the Ponzi scheme. Sick. In November of 2023, it was reported bankruptcy trustee Alyssa Miller had paid $27.2 million, mostly to secured creditors. There are still allegedly around $322 million in unsecured creditors. In court documents, Miller wrote, collections will likely continue for many years. You think? Richards believes Erika initially thought there would be money in the divorce, but as things unraveled, it was clear it was going to be months or even years before she saw a dime. The lawyer believes the Bravo star is not happy her ex has been found competent to stand trial, with the status conference set for Wednesday, January 10th. Of course she's not happy, because the more he goes down, the more there's leverage to pull her down with him. I still think they're going to get her for something. I just don't think the federal government is going to let this woman thumb her nose to them and pat her puss at them and nothing happened to her. It's just been too much. It's been too much. If we have Jen Shaw in federal prison, Elizabeth Holmes, Teresa, I don't care if anyone's like, Erika didn't do anything. Yeah, she did. She knew and she benefited from it. And now she's trying to game the system to keep those people's money. She needs to go to jail too, in my personal opinion. He is facing multiple charges, each with a potential prison sentence of up to 20 years. Girardi's net worth. The U.S. Sun has reached out to Erika's lawyer for comment, but did not hear back. Richards believes, despite the disbarred lawyer's age and ailing health, he will still serve time if found guilty. Yeah, he will. Yeah, he will. He definitely will. If he makes it that long. Again, I'm not wishing any ill towards him physically. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But he's 84 and the stress of everything. So I'm not wishing that type of ill. But if he is found guilty, I do think they're going to make him go to jail, as they should. Asked how Girardi's alleged victims have responded to judge's decision, he said, they feel great as there is justice on the horizon. The conservatorship and the bankruptcy stopped a lot, but it didn't work for the federal criminal court. Richards believes he'll likely go to jail for at least a couple of years and end up on a medical ward for seniors. Yeah. Girardi's net worth is unknown amid the bankruptcy case, but court documents show he provided a financial statement back on March 10th, 2020 to one or more lenders. He claimed his estate included real estate properties worth $89 million, cash on hand of $116 million, securities totaling $44 million, and household items including jewelry worth $12 million, resulting in the sum of around $261 million. However, it was alleged in court filings that many of the items listed could not be found, and it was alleged he may have transferred, removed, destroyed, mutilated, or concealed property. So basically, he's hiding the money. Erika helped, in my opinion, and his little goons helped too. Like, you see Erika in Vegas with these like really old men, and they're like, who's Erika's new sugar daddy? And who's this person? I don't think that those are her, quote, sugar daddies in the way we think of it. I don't think that these are her new boyfriends. I think that these are Tom Girardi's thug friends, because Tom Girardi is a thug. There's no difference between Tom and the mafia and gang and gangsters. There's no difference. Thomas Girardi is a thug. He stole from people. He ran organized crime, and he threatened people if they dared to defy him. He's a thug. So the people that you see Erika with are his little cronies, people that he has set into place to help her and to funnel her money. The old guy in Vegas, Richard Wilkes, I think his name was, or whatever his name was, the guy with the Wells Fargo account in Florida. These aren't her sugar daddies. I don't think Erika is sleeping with old men. I think she's doing like the young guys and all that stuff. She's been linked to Scooter Brown and Army Hammer, and I think she's around those types of guys. I think she's dipping into it with guys in their like 30s or 40s. I think the older men she's with are his cronies, men that they've done dirt biz with and fraud with, and he set up accounts for them to help her. That's what I think. I don't think it's her new sugar daddies. I don't think that. Because it doesn't make any sense. All right, here we go. If found guilty, ask how Girardi's alleged victims have responded to the judge's decision. They said they felt great. Okay, we covered that part. All right, let's see. However, it was alleged, that's right, in a separate case in Chicago, Girardi is facing federal wire fraud charges after being accused of stealing about $3 million from family members of the victims of a 2018 Lion Air crash. That case has been in limbo, but is expected to follow the competency decision in California. So basically that means since the powers that be in California said he's competent, the people in Chicago are like, well, California said he's competent. We'll say he's competent too. We don't need to put him through an additional test. We will just say he's competent as well, which makes sense. Also, Diana Jenkins, where is the $100,000 for the airline victims? Didn't you pledge $100,000? What happened to that? Oh, that's right. You didn't. You set up your own private non-for-profit asking for donations. Basically what Diana Jenkins did, you guys remember? She basically set up a private GoFundMe. It's not called GoFundMe. She just named it herself and was like, if everybody pays up to $100,000, I'll give the proceeds to the victims. Girl, bye. What happened to that? We'll wait. New civil case. Ooh. Meanwhile, although Erika has not been charged with any crime and was dismissed from a civil lawsuit in January of 2022, she is still under fire for her alleged involvement. She is being sued by costume designer Christopher Pasala in a lawsuit filed in the U.S. District Court of the Central District of California on August 29, 2023. Pasala alleges that the estranged pair weaponized the Secret Service to maliciously prosecute him in 2017 to acquire nearly $800,000 refund from American Express. Erika has yet to formally answer the lawsuit, but her lawyer, Evan C. Borges, told US Weekly in a statement that the allegations come at a questionable time as she was about to launch her weeks-long Vegas residency, Bet on Blonde. It's not questionable, it's strategic. Why are they like this? I don't understand. This is what I mean. Why is Erika Jayne getting her own residency in Vegas when she can't sing and she can't dance and she's still trying to get victims' money? It's evil. It seems calculated that the plaintiff timed this lawsuit to coincide with Erika's Las Vegas residency opening. It's not calculated, it's strategic. I would have done the same thing if I was him. Plaintiff's claims against Erika are without merit. That's what they always say. There's no merit. Yeah, right. Anyway, independent federal prosecutors at the U.S. Attorney's Office made the decision to charge plaintiffs with crimes no one else. The notion that Erika controlled the U.S. government, or for that matter, a Fortune 100 company such as American Express, is fantasy. That's not fantasy. That's not fantasy. That guy, the Secret Service guy, got in trouble because it wasn't that he was doing Erika a favor. He was doing Tom Girardi a favor. They had this whole scheme going on. We talked about it. And that guy got in trouble. And that's another reason why this situation with Erika and Tom Girardi got so big is because, yes, Tom had corrupted so many people to run a $500 million Ponzi scheme in the state of California for about 4 decades. However, other entities were pissed that he left so much egg on their face. Like the Secret Service were pissed. The federal government is pissed. Who else got involved? Other agencies. That's the thing. It made them look stupid. It made them look compromised. And yes, corruption exists. Obviously, that's why we have what's going on with Thomas Girardi. But good people also exist too. And particularly in these types of entities, whether it's like the military, the police, the law, the federal government, their persona, their public facing persona, their reputation is everything. And when someone makes it look like they got the dime on them, they don't take kindly to that. They don't. So that's another big reason why they're going after him so hard, is because it made them look complicit. It made them look stupid. It made them look whack. You know what I'm saying? And they don't like that. The easiest way to piss people off, especially people in the military or police officers or judges or anybody in that, is to defy their authority. And a lot of what Tom did that in his little cronies, and they got pissed off. This Secret Service guy, that when the lawsuit that Erika is in, he got in a lot of trouble because allegedly, I will say allegedly, he did use his position of authority to intimidate these people, because Tom Girardi allegedly then gave him a big kickback. So to say this is a fantasy, no, lawyer. You're trying to act like this stuff doesn't happen all day, but it does. Corruption across the board happens all the time. Boy, bye. Again, I'll say alleged, but all you guys have to do is Google it. I even did a story on it, but you Google it and all the information comes up. So you guys can, look at it and research it for yourself. Yikes. But I want to know what you guys think. What do you guys think about this? Do you think Erika will ever be held accountable? Do you think the feds will ever come after her for something? It may not be the biggest thing, whether it's wire fraud or tax evasion, or do you think they're just going to let her get off scot-free and just facing these civil lawsuits? What do you guys think? And what do you think about Tom Girardi? He's, he's been said to be competent. He's going to have to stand trial and answer for his alleged crimes. What do you think is going to happen to him in the whole situation? And what do you think it means for Erika that they're still legally married? So if he is convicted, anything that he owes is now her debt. I personally think turnabout's fair play. She took all of the gifts while married that he stole from people. She took all of that. So if she wanted to take the good, then sweetheart, you got to take the bad. You got to take the bad. So, and Janet said Kyle and Mauricio getting off scot-free was complete crooked courts. Janet, listen, I did a whole, and I'll let you guys know what we're talking about. I did a whole deep dive when Mauricio Umansky and the agency and his partner were being sued for about $32 million because they basically did a really shady bait and switch with one of their clients. All of a sudden, the case was dropped, dismissed. I don't even want to get too much into it, but it was basically the quote silent partners, investors that Mauricio used in this. I'll say alleged fraud scheme. The moment their names were about to be revealed and made public, all of a sudden the case was dismissed. Mind you, this was a federal court case that had been going on for 4 years. All of a sudden, it was like, oh, there's no merit to this case, dismiss it. In my opinion, in my conspiracy theory mind, I think that the names of the silent investors that were allegedly involved in Mauricio's fraud scheme were very powerful, probably dangerous people. And when their identity was threatened to be exposed, they probably made a phone call, and that's what made the case go away. I think that if they had not been on the brink of being exposed, they would have let it continue because they wouldn't want to show their hand. But because they were about to be exposed, their identities, they called in a favor, or they called in what they had to call in to get the case dismissed. I personally do not believe for 1 second that Mauricio and his again cronies were innocent. I think they did do the fraud. I think they did do the scheme. In my opinion, again, this is my opinion. This is for entertainment. This is alleged. This is my opinion. I think they did everything that they were accused of. But I think when the powerful people that they were working 4, because again, I don't think Mauricio is the biggest fish in this situation. When their identity was threatened to be exposed, all of a sudden the case went away. I did a deep dive on it. Go back and watch it. It's just a little too convenient. It's a little too convenient. I don't know why the federal court would continue a case for 4 years or so that it, quote, had no merit. Mm-mm. So there's that. There's that. There's that. But I want to know what you guys think. Put it down below. Before I do that, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And as always, check out our conspiracy theory teas. They are linked down below in the show notes. Dun, 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 dun. So let's see. Let's do one more story. I had a couple more, but we'll do this one. So this is 10 signs